Hey Motorheads, thank you for clicking on episode number 7, House Call with Doc Love on Race22.com. This episode will be connecting with Justin Carroll, 23, originally from Florida, now resides and races out of Concord, North Carolina, and has been racing since the age of 9. Justin has been behind the wheel of a full-bodied stock car since the age of 15 and has shown he has the talent to get the job done early in his career and continues to improve and impress and gaining tons of fans along the way. Justin has really taken on a hot streak of late and is hoping to continue that momentum into the Rodney Cook Classic. Speaking of hot, I keep hearing about this nickname Justin Carroll has, and even his Twitter account reads @Toast. That's at TOATT57, @Toast57. So I had to ask Justin, where did this nickname come from?
We were actually racing at Orange County Speedway with the Pass Series. Pass had just kind of started getting a pro late model division started, and I think we were probably 3 or 4 races in, and they were still working on getting car counts up and everything, and we actually were leading at Orange County. We were coming to the, pretty sure we were coming to the white flag. And Cole Tim was right on our bumper, which is, he's had a lot of success in super late models now. But he had got to my bumper. We had just caught a lap car and kind of slowed my momentum up, and he was kind of able to use that to his advantage. He got to my rear bumper and spun me around, and that lap car that we had just passed went completely over top of my car, and we came to a rest sitting at a turn 4, and the whole body was ripped off the car, and kind of, we didn't get, knocked out or anything, but I was kind of dazed just from the accident or whatever, and slowly start, getting out, and all of a sudden these flames start, erupt, and it starts at the front of the car, goes out down the right side of the car, and in the back, just completely engulfed the car in flames, and so yeah, that's where the old nickname Toast came from.
Man, that is a rough way to get a nickname. Sometimes the announcer will give it to you just off of the cuff, and sometimes a fan will give it to you, or sometimes it's on-track activity. So, bruh, you really earned that one the hard way. Mine was given to me in basic training. My Love is actually my last name, and the drill instructor said, "You're some kind of Dr. Love?" And I said, "Oh, I didn't know what to say." He said, "Sit down, Dr. Love," and that's where my nickname started from. A lot of people don't know that, but that's how I got my nickname. And then when I got into radio, it just stuck. I thought, oh, what a cool radio name. But anyway, bruh, that's a tough way to earn a nickname. Now, tell me again, what was the driver's name that hit you from behind?
His name was Cole Tim, and I think now he's working at Hendricks or something. We don't have any bad blood anymore. It was years ago, but it was just a racing deal.
15. That was 2011. Now, and I did see the video of this. That was a very scary crash, and to kind of clear things, the fuel tank did not get cut or didn't smash. It was how the car went over top of yours, and all the fuel lines that connect from the side, to gas it up and things like that, just got ripped off with the body, because the body just got sheared off, and then with all the hot pipes and that, with the gas kind of got splashed around. That's where all the flames come from, and it totally engulfed the car, and somebody from the pit area come running up to pull you out. Who was that?
Yeah. Actually, his name is Ray Knight, and that's my hero right there. I see Ray quite a bit. He's actually working now with the Cars Tour series, so we've been running that series all year long. So I still get to see him, and man, every time I see him, I tell him he's my hero, just because who knows what could have happened if he wasn't there to help us out. And like I said, that was only the 3rd or 4th race with that series, 3rd or 4th race for me ever in a full-size race car. I was used to legend cars where we had a door to get out of, and as I'm starting to see all these flames, I'm panicking, and I got everything undone, and I'm trying to get out of the car like a legend car, just because that's what I was used to, and totally had forgot about the window net, and he ran in there, and he's like, come on, we gotta get out of here, and he was in shorts and a t-shirt, and he ran in there, and like I said, he's my hero.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I couldn't tell because the video was kind of at a distance if that was an official or a fan or from another crew. But he was in shorts and a T-shirt, and Ray ran in the flames. He was in the fire and grabbed you out. And Kerry, you were so tiny. He grabbed you like you was an infant, pulling you out of there, man.
Yep. He was at the time an official at Orange County Speedway. He wasn't working with the Pass Series.
Gotcha.
And at first he had kind of gotten in trouble for it, and but then when they went back and reviewed footage of like the series did, they went back and they kind of rewarded him for his bravery and doing what he did just because he was the first guy to me.
Yeah, and he had to go the track. Now I want to clear that up too. The track officials were right there because he had to go between the car and the truck, and the track officials, they were Johnny on the spot with the fire extinguishers. He just happened to be there a little bit quicker because he went straight from that corner and was en route as the trucks were parking. So they were pretty quick on the spot too.
For sure.
So yeah, I'm so glad that you got out and the safety equipment did their work and there was folks there to take care of you. So that was pretty scary. I had no idea how serious of a crash that was, and it's good that we can joke about that today. But one last question about that part of it: did you or any of your crew have anything to say to the gentleman, the other driver?
It's funny you asked that. Yeah. I was pretty young at the time, and yes, I was mad and heated and everything, but I personally didn't do too much. My dad, on the other hand, he was furious, and he was looking, for his crew and them guys, and he couldn't find any of them, so he just went to the trailer and reorganized it for them, so I say, and Dad spent the rest of the night outside the racetrack until all the activities were over, and then they let him back in. But it was there was a lot of words, kind of said thereafter. But like I said, it was 8 years ago now, and we have moved on.
Yeah. Well, that's good, but that's a cool move on Dad because it's probably good he didn't get his hands on him, but it's probably good that he at least be able to relieve the stress of that situation on inanimate objects and rearranging the trailer. That's a good second best situation.
There you go.
That is awesome. All right, now, so you're 15 running that deal. So from that point forward, before that, you were running the Legend cars. And did you run any late models, or did you just go from Legend cars to that deal?
Yeah, so we went from Legend cars to that pro late model, and then kind of there after that fire wreck, we put the car, we got it all back together and ready to go. And we went and ran a couple more races, but we just kind of realized and through a lot of mom's convincing, decided that wasn't the route we really wanted to go, and we started looking more into the late model stock side of things, and it just made a lot more sense for this area. I mean, this area there on any given Saturday really has about between Virginia to South Carolina, I would say on a given Saturday, 7 or 8 tracks that are running.
Yeah, at that time, absolutely. At that time, yeah.
So it just and then the Pass Series they only run a couple of times a month or whatever they did. Now they don't run down here at all, and just so we kind of decided to go a different route. So we got rid of that and got a late model stock, and we've been really happy with it ever since.
Now, when you got your first late model stock car, where did you first drive at? Where did you first race at your first late model stock car race?
Yeah, so my first one was actually at Hickory, and Hickory used to have, just absolutely killer car counts, and I remember our first race there, we qualified 5th, and we were still trying to figure out what the heck we were doing, and there was I want to say 28 cars or 25 cars, there was a lot, and we even talked about starting in the rear before the race started, and we all talked about it as a team, we're like, you know what, we qualified up here, so let's go for it. So we did. We stayed out of trouble the whole race, and I think we ended up finishing either 7th or 8th, and it was one of for a long time at the beginning of my career, was my best finish. Was my very first race, and it was more like every time we tuned on the car, we got slower and slower. But no, we ran Hickory our whole first year, really my first year and a half or so, and then kind of started venturing out, and we now got Jason Stanley as crew chief. Me and him work on these things all day, every day, and go to the racetrack, and we have a ton of fun together now.
So you live in Concord. So did you, before they started slowing down and racing so often, did you race late models at Concord?
Yeah. So I never ran any of their weekly races because kind of my first year was Concord's last year, and we didn't want to, as weekly competition,
right?
And we didn't want to go to a track that big, that fast in my first year in late model stocks, but we did go there. The car store went there, I think, 3 or 4 times. And past used to have the North-South shootout there, and they would run late model stocks, so we would run there with them as well. And I hate that it just got bought up, but we did get one win there. We had some really good runs there in the car store series, and it's a shame that as of right now, there's not going to be any more racing there.
Yeah, that's a shame. I've been able to do some track announcing there and some short track broadcasting from there, and I mean way back to the ASA days and the pass race there. Did some broadcasting there with Alan Dietz and the UARA, and have really have enjoyed to see some really good races there over the years, and lots of history there. So it's very sad to see see that place not hold any events there. The Hooters Pro Cup back in the good old days before they split with the North and South. They split up the depth of the field before they did that. They had the one series, and man, you talk about a stout field. There was some serious racing going down in those days.
For sure.
And I had an opportunity to work with Tim Southers when he was the media director there, and doing pit road for their internet broadcasting. And holy moly, that was some serious racing. I used to tell everybody, man, what was it like working with them? And I'd say, hey, that's best
sure.
Victory Lane in all of motorsports, I'd tell them. So you raced there, and I think you cut some laps at Orange County.
Well, after that fire wreck, we really didn't race there. Honestly, let's see. After that fire wreck, we went back there one more time with that pro late model deal, and that time we went there was our last time running that car. And then I hadn't been back there until this year with with the car store.
Okay.
Yep. So it had been, I'd say, probably 7 years since we went back there. And this year was the first time I've ever been there with the late model stock, and we went there, for the car store, 30,000 to win earlier in the year. And it was such a race that, at the time was the biggest paying late model stock race until, Martinsville upped their ante.
Yeah, all it takes is a press conference.
That's right. But it's such a race that I wanted to go into and be successful and try to compete and be in contention for that. And we just were not. And it's not been a track that has been much of my liking, but just not blaming it on the fire wreck or anything. I just have not been good there, and it's just something we've struggled at. So we've gone to work, and that 30,000 race we didn't end up very well, and we went back, went there again, and just really weren't where we needed to be either. We actually got a lady luck was on our side for that one because Josh Berry he broke there the oil filter or whatever, and took out the first, I think, 8 cars or something, and we were 9th. Yeah. And our first 7 cars, because we restarted second after that, and I qualified 9th, and we led a bunch of laps there and ended up finishing 4th. But it was a decent finish, but how our car handled and where we needed to be just was not there yet. So we had a lot of luck, but I still wasn't happy as a driver, and with myself and with the car, just the performance. I know we needed to be better still, and so we went back home and we took notes on it and figure out places where we can improve and all that stuff. And we went back this past weekend for a local race up there, and they got some I'll tell you, they got some stout locals up there, and we qualified second and redrew the pole for the first race, and had a little encounters with another driver on a restart, but we did come out on top of that one, and then they had twins. They were twin 35s, and then we redrew second for the second race, and we were able to get the win in that one too. So to kind of go back, after the struggles we've had there, and to be successful was, that felt really good, and definitely, I think, the best car we've ever brought there. So I'm excited for the 30,000 to win race coming up here next year.
Yeah, and I want to go back and revisit, this past weekend real quick, but I want to kind of fill in the gap. The 7 year before you came back to run the Cars Tour full season. So in the late model stock, focus, I didn't realize you didn't run the Orange County that much. So you kind of focused around Concord and Hickory. So Hickory's basically was your home track with the late model stock car?
Yeah, Hickory was our home track. That's pretty much where we raced a lot. We did race Ace a lot too, which we've raced Ace a lot this year as well, and we were fairly successful back then. That was where I got my first ever late model stock win, and this year we've been really well up there, and so I'd say probably between Hickory, Ace, those would be some of my local tracks. We actually did travel up to Langley Speedway quite a bit in years prior, so it's a haul for us. We really like the track, and we really like the people up there. So we've been everywhere. We don't stick at one track for too long.
Well, that's cool, man. That's really interesting. That's cool, and that's to me, and I think some of the guys experience that have all these wins and national championships. They'll tell you, man, the more you travel, the more you learn about chassis, tires, and what it takes to win multiple late model stock car races, not just championships and things like that. You'll learn more about yourself, your chassis, and your equipment, and what it takes to win races over and over again. Because I think if you stay at one place, sometimes you get too tuned in, and you stay within the box. You keep thinking, well, you can't do this here. Well, that's when you start tuning yourself out. You got to think outside the box sometimes.
For sure.
All right, so we filled in that gap there. A lot of folks were wondering, where does he race at? Where's his home track? So I wanted to touch on that a little bit with you, Justin. So was this the first year that you were part of the Kawicki driver development program?
No, it's actually the second year.
Okay.
So last year we were part of the program, and
So I didn't know if that was tied in with the Cars Tour, but so you don't have to be a part of a tour. You just have to be a racer. So you can just be at a local track or a tour or whatever. You just need to be a racer to be a part of that.
Yeah, so their only requirements is you have to race late models, and you cannot have raced anything higher. So you cannot have raced ARCA, K&N, trucks, Xfinity Cup, obviously, to be eligible for the program. And you also have to be younger than 25, I believe it is, to be part of the program. So
how did you hear about this, and how do you apply for this? I mean, it's basically like a racer scholarship, right?
Yeah. So that's actually how the program started, was a scholarship at a college, and then they kind of changed it into the racing side of it. And I first heard about it kind of through the program. They'd messaged me and asked if I had ever been interested in signing up for their program. And I had kind of heard about it through some other late model stock guys. Brandon Setzer was a part of the program. Justin Carroll was, as well as Cody Haskins. But anyways, I had kind of seen it, but never, knew really how to apply. So I found out how to apply, and you really, kind of fill out almost like a job application, and you send it into their program, and then they pick semifinalists. So let's see, 2017 was the first year I applied for it. I made it to the semifinals, and then after the semifinals, they do phone interviews with each each. I think it's 20. Oh man, I think it was 21 or 25 semifinalists.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, they do phone interviews with all of us, and then from there's a board, a committee board, and there's 7 of them. There's just like how Alan's number was 7, and they kind of filter through all the different drivers, and they pick up 7 drivers, and we're gonna go into a points competition, and based off of on track, off track, social media, community service, kind of how you just are as a person as a whole. And they sponsor us $7,777 throughout the year. And then if you win the Kawiki Cup at the end of the competition, which ends October 31st, they take that $7,777 and times it by 7, which is a little over $54,000. You get this really cool looking Kawiki Cup that's got the Mighty Mouse on it. It's that was always on Alan's car when he raced, and it's a really cool program to be a part of. But anyway, so the first year I signed up for it, made the semifinals. I didn't make the finals, and so I signed up for it again last year. Made the finals, kind of learned about how the whole program was, and what it's all about. And I was kind of learning it as I was in the program because I just wasn't 100% sure what it took to win the Kawiki Cup. And I took notes last year and really started to get a grasp on it towards the end of the year. And this year I've been full at it, 100%, 110%, just trying to be our best on track. I've been going out and doing a ton of different community events. Been very active on Twitter, Facebook, all my social media stuff, and it's paying off. Right now we're leading the points. We got a 8-point lead over Jeremy Doss, who is racing out west in California and stuff. So it's going to come down to the wire for sure.
Oh, that is fantastic. Yeah, the social media from when I was in this 10 years ago is way different than years ago. So it's awesome that you got West Coast and East Coast racing against each other, kind of like Mike and the cat out there in Minnesota racing for the national title for the NASCAR Wheeling All-American Series. Man, this is going to come down to the wire, and of course, here we want to wish you the best, and there's nowhere where the fans can vote or wish, anywhere they can participate in this.
No, so the fans, they not necessarily have a voting or anything like that, but fans, can always tweet at us or be just active on any kind of social media talking about the Kawiki driver development program, or just talking about how we've done at the races or community events or whatever. That of course all helps.
Is there a specific hashtag for that social media so they'll see the activity?
So yeah, there's 2 hashtags that we use. One is hashtag KDDP, which stands for Kawiki Driver Development Program. And then the other one is hashtag Racing for Allen.
Okay. I'm going to write those down. I'm going to wear them out. But yeah, I've seen a lot of the tweets with you, and I saw one lately with you and Corey LaJoy. Corey is always a crackerhead to be around, man. I'm telling that dude, he is one hilarious young man. He is quite the pleasure to be around, and always active in social media, and very, very humorous, and does a lot of cool things out in the community, and he's just something else. Boy, I'm so proud of him, and hopefully that he can kind of do like Matt DiBenedetto, just ease his way up into a better ride and keep going, because I think he has a lot of talent, and I think in the right equipment he can get her done too. So, but yeah, that had to have been a lot of fun doing the deal there with Corey.
Yeah, that was a Samaritan's Feet deal, and he was there at the event, and I had no idea he was going to be there, and he had no idea I was going to be there. And so it was really kind of cool when I've known Corey for years, back before he was made it in the Cup Series. I've always run his dad's seats, LaJoy's seating, and so I've kind of known him I raced with his younger brother Casey.
Yeah.
Back in the Bandolero days. So we
Beaver
kind of.
Dragon.
Oh yeah. When we saw each other, it was like, whoa, what are you doing here? And so it was really cool to kind of hear his story about how he got together with the Samaritan's Feet program, and he actually told us a story how he gave up a month's worth of salary to have the Samaritan's Feet logo and on his car for the Roval, and I can't remember what the other race was he had it on his car for, but it was just he said it was something that he just got a message from above, and he said that that was just something he needed to do, and he did it, and just has had an awesome turnout over
that's
it.
awesome. That's awesome, man. I just love that dude. He is so funny. Back when I was doing the live internet radio show with Alan Dietz and Tony Stevens, our old show was called Kicking Asphalt. We used to do it at the go-kart track down in not Mooresville, but down in Charlotte.
Victory Lane?
Victory Lane Karting. Victory Lane Karting.
Yep.
And they used to come down, him and Brandon McReynolds and Coleman, Presley, and gosh, it was a whole slew of them. The field fillers. The field fillers. That's what they used to call themselves. They had a little core group of it. They used to call themselves the field fillers. And they were hilarious. Whether they were on the show or not, they'd come hang out and heckle the guys that were on the show. Those guys were hilarious. They used to make me laugh so much. I'm so glad to see those guys have success. And Brandon, I hear Brandon, he's having success with the racing out west, and I hear him doing voiceovers on some of the race broadcasts on TV. So, man, I'm just so thrilled for all those guys having success. And,
for sure.
And, it's like, seeing your progression and telling, where I haven't seen you racing before. And then, now we're almost up to where you're starting, your Cars Tour career. This is your first full season in the Cars Tour, so this is your first Cars Touring 12 program participant, right?
Yep.
So, now how hard was it to be a participant with that?
So, not too difficult. Kind of like the same thing as the Quickie driver development program. Is you kind of send in an application and they go through them all and they pick who they feel like would be the best representatives for their tour. And so being part of the Touring 12, we get kickbacks. We get purse increase. Our tires are cheaper. Pit passes are cheaper. They kind of help us out, and then we also help the series out. So One thing that they get guaranteed is they know for a fact they're going to have 12 cars at every single race. Right. Then they also, throughout the year, do different events. So like at Orange County for the 30,000 win race, us 12 drivers had to go to different places. Some went to restaurants, some went to like ice cream shop. I went to a bar with two other drivers. One was Bobby McCarty.
Oh, Lord.
I think Craig Moore, was the other one. And,
Lord.
And, we just it was a good time. But we just we try to promote the series, talk to the people that are in there about what's going on, and try to get them to come out to the race. And we have a few free tickets that we give out. Those they help us out as far as what it takes to be at the racetrack, and that we help them out as far as promoting their series.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic deal there, and it gives back to the drivers, and drivers give back to the crew. I think they really have a great program, and I think the drivers are eager to get out in the community to help get more folks and get new fans out to the track.
Exactly.
And I think it's working.
Yep.
I really do. I think it's working. Because at that time, with Langley and the guys, we were doing the live show, and we were trying to work out the logistics to get to one of those places to do one of the live shows on Friday, but it just couldn't work out with all three of us coming from three different directions, and Roger working at the shop. His customers needed him late Friday, and I had to work Friday, so it just couldn't get it worked out. But Man, hopefully next year we can work that out and do a live broadcast from one of them places, especially one of them bars. Boy, that'd be a lot of fun. Woo!
Yeah, for sure.
But one thing that caught my eye when I was looking, I'm a stats guy. I love looking at stats and trying to figure them out. But the first 3 years, 16, 17, and 18, each year you made 4 starts. That's kind of what I was getting at. You had 12 starts of those first 3 years, and you had 4 top 5s, and you did get that win at the. I was there as a fan. Redhead, my sweetheart, and Daniel got me out of the house and got me to the track again. That was maybe my 3rd or 4th race that I had attended since being away from the track, and told Tony I was there, so he was like, "Oh, it's awesome to hear you get out and visit the racetracks again." And I saw Dick Trickle race, and I thought, man, how awesome is this to see this Dick Trickle colors going around the track? How awesome is that? And doggone if he didn't win. Now, how awesome was that to win a throwback race with a beautiful scheme like that and win at your home track and only making 4 starts in a highly competitive touring series?
Yeah, that race right there, I'll tell you, it racks up with my best of best wins. I'd say probably that one, the Rodney Cook Classic. Those are probably my 2 in my history books that are up at the top. And we kind of went into that weekend. We'd been running really well at Hickory on local races, and so we had confidence. I was really excited. We went and tested it the day before, which was on Thursday, because Car Store is a Friday-Saturday event, and I thought we had a really good car, so we decided not to practice on Friday, and we kind of just sized up our competition and watched them. And as Friday was kind of winding down, I was like, man, I don't even know if this was the right decision. Maybe we should have been practicing, and almost second guessing myself, just because watching these other cars and some guys that I've only raced with a couple of times, because some of them only race the tour,
right?
And but we went into Saturday, and the 2 sessions that they had, I felt like we were competitive. I felt like we had a car that had speed, and I was confident. We only made, I want to say, 4 or 5 laps even on Saturday in practice. So we didn't show our cards too much, and then we qualified 5th, and I felt like it was, I'm not a qualifier, so I was pretty happy with that. They threw the green flag, and man, that thing was an absolute rocket ship. And I haven't had, I've had some good cars at Hickory. I've had a lot of good cars at Hickory, but on that night, just everything worked out perfect, and it came down to an absolute thriller there at the end, between me, Austin McDaniels, and Anthony Alfredo, who's now racing in the truck series.
Right.
We 3Y for multiple different laps, and I actually had lost the lead there with I want to say it was 35 to go or something like that, and I was able to get it back there with just 5 laps to go, or I'm pretty sure it was 5 laps to go. And once I got clear, I was able to drive away, but man, that was an intense battle for sure.
Oh, that was a fantastic race, and I was really enjoying it. If I remember, I think that was the last surgery I had on my left foot. I had to have some bones removed, and we were setting off of turn 4 up in the handicap area, and I had to have my leg propped up. I had a purple cast on, and we were up there having a ball and cheering you guys on, and Daniel, he was he was what, 13 or 12, 10 or 10, running around, taking pictures and all over the track, and boy, he had a ball. And but yeah, I remember just seeing all those colors and didn't quite understand what the throwback was, and because I hadn't been out and following any racing at all, and I just thought, what a cool concept. That was really awesome. That's before I had met McNally and Chris, and really talked in depth with Tony about what he was doing and what he was doing with the tour and all that stuff. Didn't really talk with Langley or anybody at that point. I was just, first few times I gotten out of the house to go to an actual track, and man, I had a ball. That was fun. Super late models was just as fun. Because I
For
think
sure. Yep.
that was the same year somebody had I think it was the Sam Ard car won.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
being of my age, I remember when he raced and was winning. Loved Sam Ard. Boy, he was tough in his day. And so that has really grown to something that is really cherished with the Cars Tour. And I was down and out this year. Was planning to go and couldn't make it this year, but the Redhead and Daniel went and took pictures for me. Had a good time with that. So that's really growing to be a real huge marquee event with the Cars Tour.
Yeah.
They've done a fantastic job with that.
Within late model stock racing, I would say that's probably one of the, I'd say probably top 5 races, biggest races of the year. They get just absolute ton of cars for it,
and it's not about the money. This is one of those races that is taken off, but it's not about the money.
Exactly, and I think it just makes it that much more special to be the inaugural winner of that in the Car Sport Series. So something that will always have on my resume, and I hope to add a few more eventually.
Absolutely, and the performance is there. I mean, after making just 4 starts those first 3 years, I guess you guys figured out, hey, we can run with these guys because the stats don't lie. Because every time you did run, you finished well, you raced good, you led laps those first few starts within the series. So this year you're racing a full season. You're in the top 10 in points. I mean, how you evaluate your first full season with the Cars Tour?
Honestly, I don't want to say I'm disappointed in our performance because I feel like every time we've gone to the track, we have been pretty competitive. Minus the throwback this year. This year at the throwback, we were just out in left field, but you take that race out of it, I feel like we've had a pretty good year. We've had, I want to say, 3 or 4 DNFs in the Cars Tour. Unfortunately, just from other circumstances, we've gotten involved in some accidents and just weren't able to finish. And but it hasn't been a lack of speed. We've had really fast cars. Every time I come to the racetrack, we've been up on the speed charts and just closing laps of these races. Man, they get intense sometimes, and hadn't been able to finish them off quite the way we want to. I feel like overall for a year we've had a really good year. Just Car Tour's been a little rough for us this year, and nothing against the series. It's a great series. We were just wrong place at the wrong times, and so it's kind of hurt us overall in the point series. I don't know. I would have liked to try to contend for the points. That was kind of our goal at the beginning of the year, and that kind of went out fairly early with just having those DNFs there at the beginning, and so it was that was a little rough for us. But we did have a couple highlights. We finished second by a nose to Bobby McCarty at the Motor Mile.
Yeah.
Yep, we led. I want to say like 80-ish or maybe even 90 laps up at Langley. So we've had the speed. We've had good cars. Just haven't quite been able to put all the pieces together this year for the Car Tour. So maybe we'll try it again next year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Have you guys talked about it? Maybe planned ahead, or can make that announcement? You guys looking at sticking with the series for next year?
Yeah, I think we'll run the series again next year. We might not do the Touring 12 again next year. We might not necessarily run the whole tour in case say the first 3 or 4 races don't go good. We might not. That doesn't lock us into having to run the whole year. So yes, we would like to try to go for another championship run. But if say after 3 or 4 races it's not looking so hot, we can kind of change plans from there.
There you go. That's we can live with that. 'Cause I think after a good year racing on the different tracks that you haven't had a lot of laps on, and with the tires and with the competition that you're going to race with, I think the next year, the performance, I think you guys have the performance. I just think it comes down to laps on those tracks and with the competition you're racing with. I think you guys will be in contention. I think you guys will be just fine.
I appreciate that.
All right, now, so let's button up the Cars Tour stuff. Let's take a look. To me, and I know a lot of fans, if they take a look, your tenure at Martinsville. This year was your fourth run at Martinsville, and so far, your first run, you've got 2 6th, the 8th, and this year, a top 10 finish. You qualified. You showed top speed, top 10 speed all week this year at Martinsville. Man, very impressive. Every time you go to Martinsville, the top 10 finish. But I think you would agree this year at Martinsville, this was the hardest top 10 finish you had to earn. Is that a true assessment?
Yeah, no, for sure. We qualified 10th and ended up finishing 7th this year. But no, I would say for sure this year has been the most tough. They changed the format around a little bit this year, and nothing to take away from the previous years that we've run well, but the way they formatted it, the previous years, it kind of led into more wrecks, and took out some of those guys that were really contenders to win the race and run up front in previous years. And so, not saying we lucked into our finishes, because yes, we did have pretty good cars, but this year, just how they formatted it and everything, there wasn't near as many wrecks. It wasn't a demolition derby like we've had, before. And I felt like this is the first year that probably the fastest car that was there won the race. Josh Berry was very good. And, I don't think we had anything for him. I think maybe we had a 3 to top 5 car. We just we got in a little bit of trouble there after the first break, and after the break, I couldn't get the car refired, so I had to get pushed off, and they sent us to the rear for it, and we had to start behind all the lap down cars and all that. I think we restarted like 32nd, 33rd, or something like that, and we worked our way back up there slowly but surely. And before that second stage break, we had worked our way back up 2 tenths, and I felt like we got ourselves back in contention where we needed to be, and raced a ton there with old Bubba Pollard, and end up ultimately finishing 7th. I think, like I said, I think we had a little bit more left in the tank. Just so hard, you have to get everything you can on those restarts, because those top 10 guys there, everyone's so close. It's if you don't make up a lot of track position on those restarts, it's hard to just run someone down and go past them. Just because everyone's so close. So, all in all, it was a really good year for us in Martinsville, and I was really happy with our finish and all that. So, and the speed and everything we had. So, I'm excited to go into next year for sure.
I haven't been involved in Martinsville in many years now. As a racer who has really been involved and focused on Martinsville, what's your assessment? What's your thoughts on the changes? The format kind of, as you said, benefited you. Maybe didn't have the best car that helped you get a top 10 finish. But, tell me your thoughts about the changes from what it was to now, this year with the changes. Share your thoughts.
Yeah, last year, not last year. The years prior, we always had cautions right there at the end of the race. I think last year's was with like 25 to go or something like that, and it just it set up really crazy finishes, because guys they know they're putting tires on with 25 laps to go, and this is it. This is the end of the race. It's one time a year, the biggest race of the year, and you're going for a grandfather clock. So they're laying it all out there, and it just led to wrecks, and it made it just absolutely insane. And I think last year was finally the icing on the cake for the officials, and so they made changes. And now our last break is with 50 laps to go. That's still a long ways, around Martinsville, and I think everyone I think they realized that they raced more with their heads screwed on straight, and it was a hell of a race, I thought, between everybody really. And yes, there was some wrecks. There was a big one on the backstretch with Taylor Gray flipping.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there was not a huge number of wrecks.
Right.
Years prior, I mean, we've run damn near close to half the race under caution.
Yeah.
So I thought everything worked out really good this year. And first year with this format, I think they'll probably go back and make some tweaks, and then we'll be even better for next year.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks say, "Oh, it was boring. One guy led the whole race." I thought it was a absolutely fantastic race. I think the best car should win because he raced his heart out. He did his homework. I mean, if you're around him, with the Cars Tour, you won't find anybody that works harder than Josh Berry. In every interview, he talks about, he went back and studied what he did wrong last year. I mean, he's always talking about it, what he did wrong, trying to go back and learn. What can he do better? I mean, he's always focused about that, and you're the same way. You looked about what happened at Orange County. Now you want to go back and do better, and you're focused on, the $30,000 to win already for next year. That's what it takes to do better. Now, Bubba Pollard, we know what he can do in any type of race car. He finished top 5. That's just the way it goes. But when you look at from second on back, there was some fantastic racing. Sometimes it's not for the leader. It was some fantastic racing back through the field, and watching you come from after you had to be pushed off, march your way methodically back through the field. It was fantastic to watch. And so, go ahead.
And to keep all the fenders on it. That was probably the hardest part.
Exactly. and if you knocked a fender in, and I don't care what anybody says, at Concord one time, I said on the PA something about, if you don't think aerodynamics plays a factor in short track racing, you're nuts. And I remember Langley making fun of me. And I'm telling you, and Josh Berry, you will tell everybody, yes, it does, and that's why you had to keep the fenders on it. Tell me I'm correct.
Yeah. No, you're 100% correct, and I mean it can end just as bad as look at Mike Looney, knocked the fender in real early in the race, blew a tire, and that was the end of his night.
Yep.
So you just you got to keep the fenders on it to be there at the end.
Yep. Absolutely. So you had to be very methodical and very calculated on how you made these passes, and that's why it's best to make up as many positions as you can on the restarts without knocking the nose off, because it's hard to explain, when you guys get up to speed to make these passes. Late model stock car racing, everybody's so equal because it's all about momentum, especially at a track like Martinsville. You have to keep your momentum and keep your corner speed up to make these passes. Can you explain how hard that is to keep up your momentum and make a pass? I just can't fathom on how you guys do that.
No, it's difficult, and especially if you start getting racing side by side with someone. That guy behind you, he's probably not side by side with anybody, and he's reeling you in a hurry. So, you gotta catch someone, you gotta make the pass, and you gotta keep going because it's just like you said, you lose that momentum. It's like the new package with the Cup cars now. They're lower horsepower, so if you lose that momentum, it hurts you down the straightaway. So you just it's hard. It's just that's why those restarts are so important to try to make it with as much track position as you can, and you got to be what I like to call, one of my favorite terms is patiently aggressive, and
yeah.
That's you got to try to make up as much as you can, and then also, like I was saying, keep the fenders on it. So it's all around. It's tough.
And a lot of folks will look at it as being impatient, and well, he's such an impatient driver. Well, it's not being impatient. You just got to keep that momentum up.
Yep, exactly.
So and that's got to be such a hard thing to do, because does that come in the feel in the car, like the seat of the pants? Is that something you feel like when you feel the momentum drop? That's when you just got to keep pushing.
Yeah, when that momentum drops, it's not a good feeling. Especially you feel that a lot of times when you're side by side with someone. So that's why it's so crucial to get clear of that person and not let the guys in front of you get away or anything like that. So it's it's not an easy task.
So unless you set in a late model stock car, not just a race car, a late model stock car, and at Martinsville or at some of these other high-speed tracks, I mean, you just can't fathom the feel of what it takes to keep the momentum up and pass these cars, and that, you know, that's something that you just can't. Average fan just don't understand. You know, it's just so easy to say, "Oh, you're such an impatient driver." Well, that's not the case at all times. I mean, right?
No. You know, you it's that you know, goes back to what I was saying. You know, you try to make these passes as quick as possible. You know, not let those guys get away, because that's why it makes you look like you're impatient.
Right.
Because you know you're trying to clear that car. You know, complete that pass. And do it as quickly as possible, you know, not to lose that momentum.
Yeah. Well, you did a fine job at Martinsville, because you passed all those cars and kept the nose on it, and that's a hard task to do. So that was quite impressive, man. That was very impressive, man. That was fun to watch. A lot of people keeping up with that, so that was very awesome. So hats off to you, my friend. Well, let's kind of go back to this past weekend. Lots of momentum, because before that you won at Ace. You had some great runs at Hickory. Have you won a regular weekend show at Hickory this year?
No, I was actually pretty upset about it. We didn't race a ton at Hickory this year, so we didn't give ourselves a ton of opportunity to go win at Hickory. But we kind of, this year we struggled a little bit at Hickory. We struggled when the car store went there. We were actually, let me go back a little bit. The very first car store race there, I felt like we had a really good car, and we just got taken out early in that race.
Right.
And then, but when we went back, we just kind of struggled. We weren't where we needed to be, and just.
Because I know the one weekend I was there, you finished top 3 because you was in the tech shed.
Yeah. So we did start to get a turn back around there towards the end of the season. Bobby, Isaac, we did finish third in.
Right. Yeah.
And I felt like we were in contention there that whole race. We stayed up front the whole race, and just didn't quite have enough there at the end. But then we went back again for it was just, let's see, I think it was just an 80 lapper, and we qualified third, and we got to second fairly quick. And me and Evan Swilling, who ended up winning the race, ran side by side for 25, 30 laps, and it just it was a nail biter. We door slammed almost every single lap, and it would have been very easy for me to go off in the corner and just not turn the steering wheel and just completely ruin his night. But he didn't race me disrespectful, and I didn't feel like I couldn't race him that way. I've raced with him for a long time, dating back to racing in the legend cars together, and we've always had a lot of respect for each other, and it was just something I couldn't bring myself to do. I'd rather, as bad as it sounds, I would rather finish second than lose that respect for someone that has raced me clean. I'm not gonna turn around and not race him clean, just for a race win. So it did suck, not getting a win there at Hickory this year. They are racing the fall brawl this weekend. I wish it was on a different weekend, because we are going with Rodney Cook. But no, overall, we just struggled at Hickory this year. But it was nice to kind of get our momentum swinging back in the right direction at Hickory there at the end of the season for next year at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I saw several victories at Ace Speedway. The only what I would refer to as the Snickers moment, the Snickers commercial, like to get away. Was the Cars Tour, which I know you was heartbroken, and I don't want to make too much light of it, but the Cars Tour race, which I know you thought I know you circled that race on your calendar, because with all the wins, the weekly racing there, and as much track time as you got there, and the great performance that you had with the Cars Tour, I know you really thought this could be the second win on the Cars Tour. Home track, second home track, if you will. Lots of momentum. Great year on and off the tour. Looking real good everywhere you go. My goodness. Man, I know that was a place you'd really want to just sneak away and say, that wasn't me there.
Yeah, that Yeah, I'll just go and tell the story. You know, Ace, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever had such I felt a dominant car. We didn't really get to show it in the race, but we'll get there. Every practice session that we were in, we didn't run all of them. We led them. We just had an absolutely amazing car, and qualified. I want to say we qualified fifth there also. You know, like going back to what I was saying earlier, I'm just not much of a qualifier, so I was really happy with that qualifying effort. And we threw the green flag, and I came to the radio and I said, something's wrong here. And I said, I got bad vibration. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I said, it's bad. And we got a caution fairly early in that race, and we were trying to diagnose it. And I said, it feels like it's coming from the left rear. I said, it feels like maybe a caliper or a loose wheel. And, you know, we had good track position at the time, and we didn't really want to give it up. And so we talked about coming in pit and trying to figure out what it was. We decided not to, and it bit us for sure. And it wasn't 3 laps later after that restart, left rear tire decided they didn't want to be on a race car anymore. And that one, it stung this whole race team, and kind of took a little bit of wind out of our sail. And but we went back. We didn't point a finger at anybody. We're a team. We're going to win as a team. We're going to lose as a team. We're going to make mistakes as a team. And that's what happened that night. You know, we made a mistake. It sucks. You know, I hate that it happened when we had such a good race car and not really being able to show it. I know Bobby and Josh put on a hell of a race, and I think we would have been right up there with them, and just you know, it stinks. So we regrouped, and we came back at what was that, Motor Mile next weekend, or the next car for race, and we finished second.
And
so
doggone almost won it. So yeah, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up is you guys did not implode and fall all to pieces. You guys embraced it and even kind of poked fun at yourselves and moved on. Put it behind you and moved on like true professionals. And I applaud you guys, everyone on your crew and anyone that supports you guys. I absolutely applaud you guys, because a lot of short track teams aren't able to do that. And you guys did it like true pros.
Yeah. No, I mean, I literally the next day on Facebook, I posted a picture of a torque wrench.
Yeah.
And and that was it. I didn't say nothing with it. I just posted a picture of a torque wrench, you know, and I went back later on and I wrote a good long post about, you know, what had happened, that it was a mistake, and we're a team, we're human, we're not robots. We're going to make mistakes, and like I said, that's what happened. So
and to have fun with it, man, I applaud you guys. I just thought that was absolutely fantastic, and man, I think you guys gained a lot of fans through that. If they were really paying attention, I think you guys gained a lot of fans with that. So I thought that was awesome. I mean, to me, it almost brought you guys closer.
I would agree. It brought us closer. It got us we got a new impact from it, and we got a new torque wrench from it. We already had one, but we got another one.
Did you get a torque wrench sponsor out of that?
we were going to make sure we were not going to have that issue again.
That's right. And before Martinsville, you had talk about momentum, coming up to this race this weekend. Big win at Dillon. Was that the first time that you had raced at Dillon?
So yeah, I had raced at Dillon back in that pro car long time ago. And then, it was the first time I've ever been there in a late model stock. Kind of struggled there. We didn't, we weren't very, very good in practice. Felt like we were just kind of off a little bit, and we made some pretty big swings there after practice, and kind of went into qualifying and the race kind of blinded or just kind of guessing, and we guessed pretty good. I mean, we qualified on the pole, and we led every lap, and it was a hell of a race. I mean, they got some good locals there also, and just we were able to come out on top though, which was cool to not really ever run there in late model stock and to do that.
Yeah, Ron Barfield does a great job down there. I remember him running the old All Pro Series and ran the trucks, made it up the Cup a little bit, and I raced RC cars with him many years ago. I was still in the Air Force when I first met Ron Barfield racing RC cars many years ago. So he's a gem. He's a good one. They do a great job down there. And then you had the Martinsville weekend. We've covered that. And then just this past weekend, we talked about that a little bit on and off. They ran twin races at Orange County Speedway. Won the first one, and then the second one was a little bit more edgy to win. Had a restart late in the race and got raced a little odd and had an opportunity. You had a choice to make: either get pushed over and pushed aside, or pushed back. What choice did you make, Justin?
No, you got to push back.
That's right.
I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. We've been, I've been pushed around, and pushed around too much, and it's late in the year. You get to a point where enough's enough. I had never raced this guy before, and he's a local there. He's won, I think, the past 3 in a row, and Orange County, the top is the preferred line, so I chose the top on the restart, and he went off in the corner and didn't turn the steering wheel till door slammed me. He ran me all at the racetrack, cleared himself, and he was on. He was gonna go win the race. And, he probably got about a 2-car length lead on us, and there was only 6 laps to go, and we took the white flag, and I wasn't gonna catch him. And someone spun out coming to turn 2, and we got another shot at it. They threw the caution. We had a green-white checkered, and I thought for sure this guy was going to choose the bottom again, and he chose the top, and allowed me to. I got a shot at it, and I raced him the way I was raced, and he didn't. When he was beside me, I hadn't raced him the whole night, and that was the first thing he did to me. So that's gonna be the first thing I'm gonna do back when I got the opportunity. And got the opportunity was there, and we went on to win. We did what we had to do. That's what we were there to do, and that's racing. You're gonna race me that way, I'm gonna race you back that way.
He had to have been expecting it. Had to have.
You would think. You would think. His whole crew and including him came over, was wanting to start a bunch of stuff, and said they were going to destroy us in the second race, and they didn't do that. And
so that was the first race. I had it wrong. That was the first race that happened.
Oh yeah, that happened in the first race.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Him and his teammate were coming over saying they were going to destroy us in the second race, and neither of them did that. His teammate actually wrecked out on lap 1, and then he actually just put it around the bottom because I guess his car was too messed up to be up to speed or something. And but no, we didn't have any issues in the second one. But yeah, he came over to us saying I had no talent and all that stuff. So I don't know. I was sitting in victory lane and he wasn't. So
well, I don't wish anybody ill will. And what was the other driver's name?
His name was Daniel Moss, and like I said, he's a good racer there.
Yeah, Daniel's tough over there. Yeah,
yep, he's won a lot of races there. He's won South Boston. I mean, he's no slouch at all. But at the same time, I'm not gonna take any crap from him either.
Right, absolutely. And he's that's his home turf, and he's there to protect his home turf, and he's got a new racer there. He's going to see how far he can push you. That's his job too, So it comes and goes, and that's the way. If you didn't push him back, then he knows he's going to do it to you again. So now he knows next time he's lined up for you, he's going to race you a little bit different. Probably give you a little bit more room, I bet.
Hey, I would hope so.
but we'll see. We'll see. So, but if he listens to the podcast, he'll probably have a different opinion. He'll probably find out you got a whole lot more talent than what his opinion was. But anyway, so yeah, moving a lot of momentum. Did real well in Martinsville again, another top 10 finish. And coming up this weekend, we'll finish the podcast with this, another wonderful podcast. I appreciate you joining me. Let me into your space with a house call with good old Doc Love, old Tommy here, Doc Love. The 2018 winner, last year's winner, the Rodney Cook Classic at Ace Speedway. This year is the 6th annual Rodney Cook Classic. Now, did you know Rodney Cook? Did you ever get to meet him?
I didn't personally know him. I was kind of getting started in racing kind of when he was getting, stopping there racing, and but I'm big into YouTube. I watch a ton of races on there. A lot of races at Ace, with him, winning there. Him and Barry Beggerly going back and forth a lot.
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't personally know him, but it was really cool to win his race there last year.
Yeah, the first winner in 2014 was Justin Snow, then Alex Yantz, talented racer. 2015, R.D. Smith. 2016, Blake Stallings. 2017, and your name will forever be inscrawled in 2018. So far, haven't been a repeat winner. How cool would that be to hear your name as the first repeat winner?
Man, that's that's the goal. That's what we're after. There's going to be a lot of tough competition there at Ace. Ace is no slouch racetrack. We have had a lot of success there this year. We won 5 there this year. We've had a really good year there, but none of them have come easy. They've all come down to nail biters.
Yeah.
Between Dustin Rumley, Ryan Millington, he won championship there. He's been on a hot streak there. My teammate Jacob Heffner has been really fast there. So it's not going to be easy. There's going to be stiff competition, and but we're gonna go in there. We're gonna do what we know how to do and know what to do, and we're gonna try to defend our Rodney Cook Classic win, and then bring that trophy and $10,000 check back home here to Concord.
Absolutely. Of course, it was paved in 1990. It's 4/10 in length, banking 12 degrees in the corners. Straights have 10 degrees. Now, as a driver, can you feel that, or does it feel like more in the corners, or does it feel like less?
It feels, honestly, I don't know what Martinsville stats are, but it's got to be pretty close to that, because 1 and 2 feels like it's got a little bit of banking, but 3 and 4 feels pretty flat. So, but it's a fun track. I mean, asphalt has held up really nice around there, and got a lot of grip. It's a fast racetrack, and it's tight racetrack. So it's a little bull ring. It's like Martinsville, but shorter and smaller. But a lot of beating and banging. It's a bottom feeder racetrack, so the nose will definitely be used if need be, and by anybody really. And but it'll be a good race for sure.
Oh, absolutely! Every year it's a fantastic race. He ran number 14 most of his career, and it'll be 140 lap feature. For the Rodney Cook Classic. Rodney was a racer's racer, was always a threat no matter what he drove. One time in Orange County, he drove a street stock, a late model, and some other division. Almost won. He won the late model and almost won the other divisions that he was in. He was a big presence of a guy. In high school, he was a lineman. I don't think people realize how athletic he was. And man, I'm telling you, I love that guy. You could talk for him for days about anything. He was just a big presence of a guy. He wasn't just big and bulky. He was just a big presence, and his heart was as big as the sky. And the way you described the story at Orange County, that describes his style of racing. So you fit perfectly the style that he raced. And if it came around again, if the gentleman did that again, then they would have to take boxes on the track to get that guy's car up. That's the way he would have done it. He could have come through the field with a clean nose, or he'd come through the field with no body work if you didn't race him right. He was entertaining. I just loved Rodney. He was. I loved his family. He was a beautiful racer, man. I'm telling you, he was entertaining. He helped a lot of folks that struggled, and behind the scenes, he was a gem. I'm telling you, he was a beautiful soul and loved short track racing. Boy, he was a family affair. He and his dad, and he was always at Ace Speedway. Raced on the dirt there late in his career. Got him a dirt car and went to Bowman Gray. Me and Corey Latham went to watch him at Bowman Gray. He had a ball. So that was some things he wanted to do. So I just wanted to go just to say I did it, he said. So we went and took pictures and had a ball with him over there. So, but yeah, his spirit, his racing spirit lives on with Ace Speedway, and the way you described how Ace or Orange County went down, and the way you guys raced so hard for the victory last year. That's definitely in Rodney's spirit for sure. So, and I know that's the way it's going to go.
He will definitely be there racing with us, with all of us.
Absolutely. So, let's look at some of the particulars for this weekend, because they've got all kinds of activities starting Thursday for this week. If you're interested in checking out some of the other activities, because they got sprint cars, 2 types of different sprint cars. Got midgets and sprint cars, and I think they got practice. You can pre-qualify. Your pre-qualifying tech can start 4 o'clock. Oh, I can hear the birdies. You're outside in nature. I can hear the birdies out there. I hear you. Thursday the 17th, 4 o'clock, you can pre-qualify tech inspection if you get your trailers out there and all that good stuff for the late model guys. They do have some racing activities Friday night, 7 o'clock for the MSR sprints, USAC midgets, group qualifying, Ace modifieds. Let's see what kind of racing action they got. Champ carts, USAC features, MSR sprints, and extreme cars are racing. Green flag at 7:45. Drivers meeting at 7 o'clock. That's this Friday. And Saturday night, October 19th, the Rodney Cook Classic at the Ace Speedway in Altima Hall, North Carolina. Drivers meeting at 10:15. Grandstands open at 2 p.m. Pre-race activities at 3:45. Green flag, 4 p.m. Late model race will be the 8th on-track activities. Got the MSR sprints, USAC midgets. Then the limited late model will be the first race. 50-lap feature, then the MSR sprints, heats, the accent imaging, mini stock feature, mod feature, then the late model feature. Rodney Cook Classic, 140 laps. Driver intro on the front stretch will be going down this weekend at the Ace Speedway, Saturday night, the 19th. And the driver we got with the Doc Love house call, Justin Carroll, last week's winner, will be in attendance, and a whole stellar tough group will be there trying to chase you down this Saturday night. So we wish you all the best this weekend, Justin. I know Redhead and she's got her new pink shirt, Justin Carroll shirt. She'll be wearing that this weekend. So I think Daniel and I will be there doing the video thing again. So we'll be there, and wishing you the best and all the drivers, and want everybody to be safe and have fun. And anybody you need to thank, and talk about your sponsors and all that good stuff before we let you get out of here.
Yeah, I just, always Industrial Battery and Charger. They've been with us my whole racing career, so definitely wouldn't be here without them. Mom, Dad, Jason Stanley for making our race cars go fast. Quickie Driver Development Program, Superior Trailer, GECI, and I think that about does it. My whole family, my whole crew, they bust their tails for me, so wouldn't be here without them. So definitely can't thank them all enough.
Now, if you're a fan of Justin Carroll and you go on social media, especially Twitter, be sure and use the hashtag. If you say good luck for Justin or anything like that, shoot a picture or whatever, use the hashtag KDDP. That way they can see all the support he's getting out there for this weekend. And we wish you all the best with that. We hope you're winning there, and be sure and let everybody know how that turns out for you, okay?
Will do, for sure.
All right, buddy. We'll see you this weekend, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, Doc. I appreciate it.
Hello? I must be going. I cannot stay. I came to say I
You can also see Justin Carroll race at the Cars Tour season finale at the South Boston Speedway, November 2nd. And, of course, all the details will be on race22.com. Thank you for clicking on race22.com and listening to House Call with Doc Love. Until next time, we'll see you at the races.
Must be going.